Hello and welcome to Daily Prelims Practice. Here we take up MCQs based on important articles and news from the Hindu and the Indian Express newspaper. Topics which we are going to cover today are displayed on your screen. Let's begin the discussion. Our first question is based on this article, and according to this article, Supreme Court will decide whether to review its 2016 decision in the Navam Rabia case, which concerns the hearing of disqualifications petitions against legislators under anti-defection law. Now, UPSC has previously asked questions based on presiding officers of the Parliament, as in 2022 itself it has asked the question based on provisions and procedures related to Deputy Speaker of Lok Sabha. Now in this practice question, you can easily eliminate statement 2 as there is no mandatory provision and it is by convention that position of Deputy Speaker of Lok Sabha is offered to opposition party in India. So here you can eliminate option B and option D. Now you're left with A and C. Now statement 1 is correct. As being an important constitutional office, the election is usually held on next sitting after speaker selection as president fixes date for speaker selection. And after being elected, the speaker fixes the date of deputy speaker election. So here our correct answer is option A. Now let's come to the practice question. Here you have to identify incorrect statements. The first is, he can be removed by a resolution passed by a majority of the members present and voting in the House. The Speaker is provided with security of tenure. He can be removed only by a resolution passed by Lok Sabha of all the then members of the House and not by an ordinary majority. And what is ordinary majority? It is majority of the members present and voting. So this is ordinary majority. So our first statement is incorrect. Let's come to the second statement. He summons and presides over a joint sitting of the two houses of parliament. Now Speaker presides over the joint sitting of the House. However, such a sitting is summoned by the President to settle a deadlock between the two houses on a bill. So there's a difference between term summons and presides. So our second statement is incorrect. Now let's come to the third statement. His salaries and allowances are charged on the Consolidated Fund of India. Now his salaries and allowances are fixed by Parliament. They are charged on Consolidated Fund of India and thus are not subjected to annual vote of Parliament. So our third statement is correct. So here our correct answer is option A, that is 1 and 2 only. Now our next question is based on this article and according to this article, opposing the setting of a committee to examine the regulatory mechanism post Hindenburg Adani allegation, Congress on Thursday said any panel other than Joint Parliamentary Committee, that is JPC, would be an exercise in legitimization and exoneration. Now, facets related to the Parliamentary Committee has been a recurring theme in UPSC Prelims examination. As in 2014, it has asked the question to identify the largest parliamentary committee. Now, as you know, that Committee on Public Accounts composed of 22 members, Committee on Estimates composed of 30 members, Committee on Public Undertakings composed of 22 members. Then next is Committee on Petitions. They are of two kinds. One is related to Lok Sabha and one is related to Rajya Sabha. It composed of 15 members and it composed of 10 members. So now you can see that option B is correct. Now let's come to the practice question. So here you have to identify incorrect statements with reference to parliamentary committees. So the first statement is, Constitution of India provides for specific provisions regarding their composition, tenure and functions. Now Constitution of India do makes a mention of these committees at different places, but without making any specific provisions regarding their composition, tenure and functions. All these matters are dealt by the rules of two houses. So our first statement is incorrect. Now let's come to the second statement. Members of departmentally related standing committees are elected by the Parliament from among its own members. Now each DRS, that is departmentally related committee, consists of 31 members. From that, 21 from Lok Sabha and 10 from Rajya Sabha. The members of Lok Sabha are nominated by Speaker from among its own members. just as the members of Rajya Sabha are nominated by chairman from among its own members. So they are nominated by speaker and chairman, not elected. So our second statement is incorrect. Now let's come to the third statement. Chairman of the Public Account Committee is elected from among its own members. Now, while the members are elected by Parliament every year from among its own members, according to principle of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. The chairman of committee is appointed by among its members by the speaker, and since 1967 a convention has developed whereby the chairman of the committee is selected invariably from the opposition. So our third statement is also incorrect. So here our answer is option D, 1, 2 and 3. Now international convention is relevant for your UPSC Prelims examination, as this question based on Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action came in year 2015. Now, Fourth World Conference on Women held in Beijing in 1995. The conference unanimously adopted the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action that was in essence an agenda for women empowerment and stands as a milestone for the advancement of women in the 21st century. So answer of this PYQ is option C. Now let's come to the practice question. Question says Tarawa Declaration of 1989 is a convention for which of the following? Now Tarawa Declaration of 1989 formulated at the 20th South Pacific Forum aimed at banning fishing with the long drift nets in the South Pacific. So answer of this practice question is option C. Now let's understand what is drift netting. Drift netting is a fishing technique that involves suspending a long and a floating fishing net in the water and allowing it to drift with the currents. The net is made up of fine mesh and can be several kilometers long. Now as net drifts, fish and other marine creatures become entangled in it. In 1992, United Nations had banned drift net fishing on the high sea areas beyond the exclusive economic zones of any nation in all the world's ocean. Although Tarawa Convention and the UN resolution are applicable in the high sea, these are relevant in terms of preventing overfishing in general and the conservation of fishery management in the exclusive economic zones as well. Now, why we have taken this question? As there was an article on page 8 in the Hindu newspaper which talks about deep sea fish conservation. And you should know that fishing is a state subject and the management plan for marine fisheries in territorial waters is the job of the states. India has not imposed any restrictions on fishing beyond territorial waters within the EEZ zone. Why it is important to know? Because recently, Supreme Court of India has given a permission to fishermen using Perseus seed fishing gear to fish beyond territorial waters and within the EEZ zone, that is 200 nautical miles of Tamil Nadu. Now our next question is based on this article, and this article is about major tweak in organ donation policy. As recently Union Health Minister on Tuesday said that clause that people aged beyond 65 could not receive cadaver organ transplants had been removed. Now from the perspective of your exam, scientific innovations and discoveries are significant. As there was a question about DNA coding in year 2016. In this question, you have to identify correct statements with reference to DNA barcoding. Now, DNA barcoding techniques were used to explore the composition of a roasted barley tea which was exported to a certain country from China, but then returned due to detection of other undesirable plant components present. That means contaminants were found. So third statement is correct. Also, there have been reports of DNA barcodes used in distinguishing species of tropical Lepidoptera, an order of insects that includes butterflies and moths, which are similar. So DNA barcoding effectively distinguish among species in 3 Lepidoptera families in northwestern Costa Rica. So second statement is also correct. Now only one option entails statement 2 and 3, that is option D. So our correct answer is option D. As DNA barcodes is not known to be used for assessment of age of a plant or an animal. So statement first is incorrect. Now let's come to the practice question. Question says the term cadaver science often mentioned in news relates to. Now cadaver or corpse is a dead human body. Cadavers are used by medical students, physicians, and other scientists to study anatomy, identify disease sites, determine causes of death, and provide tissue to repair a defect in a living human being. Cadaveric donation comprises organ donation, that is, taking organs, for example, heart, lungs, kidney, liver, pancreas, from brain dead people, as well as tissues donation, meaning taking tissues like skin, corneas, tendons, bone from brain dead as well as heart dead people. So answer of this practice question is option C. Now our next question is based on this article, and context of this article is that India is expected to welcome the first batch of 12 cheetahs from South Africa this weekend, after 8 of these big cats were ferried from Namibia last September. Now, conservation related issues is important for your prelims examination, as this question based on National Park came in 2013. Now here you have to identify correct pair. Under one column you are provided with National Park and another you are provided with river flowing through the park. The first option is Corbett National Park. The first pair is incorrect, as Ram Ganga, tributary of Ganga, flows through Corbett National Park. So with this you can easily eliminate option A and option C. This pair is also incorrect, as Bhavani River, a tributary of Kaveri River, and Kuntipuza River, a tributary of Bharatpura River, originate in the vicinity of Silent Valley National Park. So our answer of this PYQ is option D, that is none. Now let's come to the practice question. In this question you have to identify a correct pair. Under one column you are provided with National Park and second column you are provided with associated river. So first is Ranthambore National Park. Now this is a national park in Rajasthan and it is bounded to the north by the Banas River and to the south by the Chambal River. So our first pair is correct. Ranthambore is situated in the vicinity of the Aravalli Hills and Vindhya Plateau. Now let's come to the second, that is Panna National Park. It is a critical tiger habitat located in Vindhya Hill in northern Madhya Pradesh. It is the land of Ken River, and Ken is one of the major rivers in the Bundelkhand region of central India and flows through the state of Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. It is a tributary of Yamuna. So our second pair is incorrect. Now let's come to the third one, Nagarhole National Park. It is located in Kodagu district and Mysore district in Karnataka. Nagarhole rivers flow through the park and gradually joins the Kabani River, which is also a boundary between Nagarhole and Bandipur National Park. So our third pair is also incorrect. Also you should know that Bandipur National Park in Karnataka is flanked by Kabani River in north, Moya River in south, and Nugu River runs through the park. So answer of this practice question is option A. Now our last question is based on this article, and context of this article is that financial burden of wages to the beneficiaries of the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme should also be shouldered by the state governments in order to make them more proactive in controlling corruption. Now, important projects by different ministry is important for your prelims examination. This question based on MP Lads came in year 2020. Now in this question, you can easily eliminate statement 3, as an important aspect of MP Lad scheme is that funds released under this scheme are non-lapsable. That means if the money is not utilized, it gets carried to the next year. So with this, you can eliminate option B and option C. Now all you have to check is for statement 4, whether it's correct or incorrect. Now statement 4, district authority would be responsible for overall coordination and supervision of the works under the scheme at the district level and inspect at least 10% of the works under implementation every year. So statement 4 is correct. So our answer is option D, 1, 2 and 4. Now let's come to the practice question. In this question you have to identify correct statements with respect to Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, that is MGNREGA. The first statement is it provides for work guarantee and it is administered by Ministry of Panchayati Raj. Now this statement is incorrect, as it is the largest work guarantee program launched in year 2005 by Ministry of Rural Development. Now let's come to the second statement. The scheme also provides for provision of ombudsperson. Now this statement is correct, as it do provides the provision of ombudsperson, that is the ombudsman shall have power to receive complaints from MGNREGA workers and others or any matters specified in clause 9 either at office or in the field during a field inspection. Recently, government launched Ombudsperson app. Now let's come to the third statement. The scheme provides for a social inclusion and strengthening Panchayati Raj institution as its objective. Now the objectives of MGNREGA are, the first one is to provide at least 100 days of unskilled manual work in a financial year to every household in rural areas as per demand, resulting in creation of productive assets of prescribed quality and durability. Second is to strengthen the livelihood resource base of the poor. Third is to proactively ensure social inclusion. And the fourth is to strengthen Panchayati Raj institutions. So our third statement is correct. So here answer is option C, that is 2 and 3 only.